Hi friends, welcome to my show Beyond the Brand by Neeraj Jha. Here we go past headlines, past personas and straight into the heart of the people behind the brand. Reputation is what the world sees. Legacy is beyond it. I'm delighted to bring to you Abhinav Jha, who needs no introduction as a headhunter. Currently, he is with Executive Access, which is India's largest boutique CXO search firm. I'm very sure you'll enjoy this interaction.
So Neeraj, it was a pleasure to see you at the IOD event where you hosted and sponsored, you know, very interesting concept was introduced to the world, which was on brand reputation. So let's start with your background and, how did you kind of come to Bombay and, to the corporate world? The first half of your career was very different from, the second half, and now you're in probably the third innings. So if you could just take us back to the first half of your life, that'll be very fascinating.
Thank you, Abhinav. Thank you. It's when I look back, I look back with a lot of disbelief. Bombay was something that was always there on my radar. One city that I wanted to come, but never got a chance. Come from a place called Ranchi in Bihar, which Dhoni has made very famous now. So for us, Delhi was the default option. So I've studied in Delhi also, and I got a chance to come to Bombay. Thank a gentleman who was instrumental, responsible for bringing me here. And then ever since, Bombay has been terrific, very rewarding, no complaints. My father obviously wanted both of his sons to become an engineer like he himself was. That was not to be. And then the next was becoming an IAS or IPS officer, which most Biharis have the desire of. So we also headed to Delhi like most Biharis. That was not to be. Many people we figured that were better at it. Then journalism happened. My father said, "What next? Why don't you try your hand in journalism? You write well." He thought I wrote well. That's how journalism happened. And then Times of India in Patna, and then ever since it's been then Bombay. So when I look back, it's a lot of disbelief and gratitude, of course.
And then the corporate world.
Yeah, so after having done journalism for about 10 years in Bombay, I got a chance to, join Reliance Industries, Reliance Communications, a new company that had just come up. And I was a telecom journalist. I wrote on telecom. So obviously there's something that they would have liked in me, and they approached. I said, no. Doesn't look like a bad idea, and I took up the offer, and ever since, my journey, corporate journey, started from there.
Wonderful. And you worked with top brands. You, if I were to recall, you worked with the topmost bank in India. You would have worked with the topmost telecom company in India. You have worked with the biggest conglomerate. Okay. And in your last role, you worked with a family owned large business. And now, Neeraj Jha Brand Advisory. Okay. So tell us a little bit about how did this come about? How did you think about launching your own practice? And where are you in your journey right now?
No, it's very fascinating again. You're right. I mean, got a chance to, I'm so thankful to God for having given me the chance to work with, these brands that you just mentioned. Together, all four put together, they make up 20%, 25% of the Indian stock market's capitalization, right? So, it's really something to be humble about, I would say. So I've been part of their journey in a very small way. Their evolution as a brand. So you forgot to mention the people, the leaders, the people that I've got to work with. So whatever little I am today, if at all, besides my parents, I think I would, I'd like to give them a lot of credit for shaping me into what I am today. And I'm sitting here in front of you talking about these things. It's because of them.
Wonderful. Wonderful. No, completely. We are a reflection of our parents. And the good deeds, come back and whatever we achieve in life is due to the efforts of our parents. Completely agree with you. Now, if you were to look at building of brands, you've been part of many journeys, right? Where do you think, branding as a concept, was when you joined the corporate world, and where are we today? And where does brand reputation, okay, come in? And how different is it from branding?
Yeah, my understanding, I think branding, has obviously changed, evolved over the years. Branding has two aspects. One is the very physical, visible aspect that you see, right? If there's a company, it has a name, it has a logo, certain colors, that's the part that you see. And there is the part that you do not see, the values, the qualities. Those are attributes that you don't see. I think those are the attributes that perhaps I, like to believe that I work on. Those are the values or the attributes that create a brand's reputation, gives its what is called reputation, creates the trust, for it. So that is the intangible part of the brand's, personality is something that I would like to believe that I deal in.
Wonderful. I've been observing what you've been writing of late on LinkedIn, social media, seen a couple of videos. Needless to say, you're a torchbearer of the concept of brand reputation in the country right now. Do you think it's a concept which is being taken seriously by the industry?
I think I'll be, I'm happy to see that it's happening now. When I took up this industry, when I joined, it was public relations department for, most of us. Large companies and government companies will have a public relations department, and that would deal with the publicity and PR and whatever, and also the customer dealings. The railways will have a public relations officer. Function itself has evolved, skill has evolved, the understanding about these two within an organization has evolved. So that has happened. Pace, perhaps, in my view, could have been faster, but I'm saying this is one craft, one domain that is not even taught properly in any of the top colleges. Public relations is taught, perhaps. That is not those are tier two, tier three colleges, in my opinion. This is not taught. So there is a lot of work that one needs to do in this domain to make it into an organized domain.
So, Neeraj, you've worked with many top leaders, some celebrity CEOs, top promoters. Anyone you feel has been, in particular, a big sponsor of the concept of brand reputation?
Uh, Absolutely. Yeah. My 15 years in HDFC Bank, I could say this with a lot of pride that the level of consciousness, the level of awareness and sensitivity towards reputation, that I saw there. But I'm sure there are other companies also in India who'll have similar levels of, awareness. But here I could see this, on display. And when we began 2006, when I joined the bank, we were all different, right? So all of us evolved, and your ability to evolve or your ability to make things change is also a lot to do with the leeway and the freedom that you're given. So I'm thankful to my superiors there for letting me drive some of these changes. And when I left the bank, I think it was uh, almost perfect in my assessment. And in fact, I was called to make a presentation to the board. And I'm not sure if I know too many such examples where a communication head is called by the board to make a presentation on the way the brand is managed, right? So that was quite gratifying. You want me to name?
If you could, एक दो नाम ले लीजिए तो will be interesting, because you're only speaking in positive light about people.
Okay. So, most of the companies, brand that I got a chance to work with, I could see a very high degree of awareness about this. And otherwise, they wouldn't have hired me at those levels, right? So, they were very clear why they needed me, why this role was important, and the way it was structured, the reporting, everything was clear to me, made it clear to me that it's a very important role. In HDFC Bank, I think we stands out in the sense that the gentleman that I reported to, my boss, immediate boss, was Paresh. You couldn't have found a better person, with better understanding of this, and the way it was structured. Again, thanks to the understanding perhaps that existed within the bank.
If I'm not mistaken, all the risk functions used to report to him.
Reported to him, including the reputation risk.
Yeah.
Right. So
That was very interesting because on one hand he was looking at liquidity risk and you were looking after reputational risk.
correct.
So the remit for him was very, very wide.
Absolutely. So that's the reason I keep saying that is the best structure, organization could have was this. And also Mr. Puri was very, very conscious of brand reputation. There are examples, 10 examples I can give. He wouldn't do, or he wouldn't allow people to do, just because it didn't mean good for the brand's reputation.
I think brands which speak, okay, the right things, okay, and there is not much difference between what they speak and what they do, are inherently the biggest, brand custodians for themselves. Having said that, there has to be a person in the company who needs to take ownership of it, right?
I think so, and I agree. And my belief, I may be a minority. I think this function has evolved, as I said, from being a PR person to head of communications, to chief communications officer in certain cases. A chief communications officer's remit is very different from a PR head remit, or even head of communications. Very important for this to be documented. What is it that you will do? What is it that you'll be responsible for? In my opinion, the it calls for a little greater focus, where you make somebody responsible for a reputation. The buck will have to stop with him. Everybody else is a custodian. The MD and the owner and the promoter is the biggest custodian, without a doubt. But there has to be a person designated, appointed for this. Buck has to stop at somebody, and that person has to be him. That change is happening. Perhaps, needs a little bit more impetus.
Wonderful.
What it takes, that's your Kant question. What I think, as I said, the role itself has evolved. What it takes, has evolved over the years, from being a public relations role at one point to now this. So there is obviously a broadening of asks and broadening of skills that has happened already. In my view, and I've said this earlier also, in my view, this function is best suited to a journalist. And there's a reason why I say this. So that's one pool that, you need to look at while hiring. But I'm not saying every journalist will, fit the bill. There are sub qualities that you need to look at. There is no other pool, unfortunately, that exists. Like marketing, there's a pool. Where do you hire marketing talent from? It's being taught in schools, top schools. So there is a pool available for you to hire. There is no such pool available here. So people with different backgrounds have come and become part of this. Nothing wrong. That is all a part of the evolution process. Today, having come this far, in my opinion, you need that skill. You need to understand the media. You need to understand a reputation. When I'm writing as a journalist, I know which part of of the company's brand reputation my story will hurt tomorrow. So you're conscious at the time of writing that story. So you understand this. You understand communication. You understand medium. You understand. You have the confidence. It's all about confidence. If you don't confident, then you'll cringe in front of personalities. This job cannot afford to cringe. I have to call the spade the spade. If you're my MD, my boss, I have to call a spade unless I have the confidence. Journalists have confidence in plenty. You need confidence. Not that these are the only people who have confidence, but I'm saying by the dint of being part of a certain industry where you're so used to dealing with, interacting with top people, influential people, politicians, film stars, top bureaucrats, and government officials. You're so used to it, so you don't cringe. Second is good knowledge of the domain. When I say domain, the industry that you're part of, micro environment, also geopolitics, unless you're aware, familiar with the environment in which your company is operating, your knowledge is then limited. You need to know the environment, uh, law, knowledge of law, libel, defamation, copyright, all these things. So these are, if you have these skills, I think it makes you a little more complete in terms of, filling what is required. So, and it's happening. I mean, it's happening, and that's the direction that I see this, moving.
Wonderful. 1 year down the line, how would success look like for Neeraj Jha, the brand?
No, I think I am very passionate about this word reputation. Right, reputation, in my opinion, is the main capital, core capital, and communication is a means, is a tool. Public relations is a skill that you use to. What are you communicating? I'm communicating those intangibles that I just spoke about a little while back. What am I communicating with whom? When I'm communicating with my stakeholders, this is what I'm communicating, the intangibles that you don't normally see. Right? So I'll be communicating my value system, the culture, my ethos, anything good. This is what actually generates trust for the brand. Right? There are times when you have, the financial numbers, for instance, you're very, you know, good profit making company. That also is seen by the world, by the people, right? So that is where part of your reputation comes from. What you're doing for the society, for the community that you're, part of, a lot of your goodwill and trust will come from there. You're a very responsible organization. You're responsible towards your stakeholders. How you treat your employees, your partners, all these things contribute to the capital called reputation capital, right? And you're trusted by these. It's just not the customer. Unfortunately, we don't have any measure today, any metrics that measures how each of these stakeholders looks at me, views me. We limit ourselves to consumer, to customer. So if I'm your consumer, I'll have your product, and that becomes the basis for me to judge you good or bad.
Yeah.
What about the other stakeholders? I think that is something that I would, like to describe being part of my journey as I go now. Next year, perhaps I would want to see myself patting myself on my back, saying, "Well, I've been a little successful in making, this group grow."
So, Neeraj, you've worked with many top leaders, some celebrity CEOs, top promoters. Anyone you feel has been, in particular, a big sponsor of the concept of brand reputation?
Uh, Absolutely. Yeah. My 15 years in HDFC Bank, I could say this with a lot of pride that the level of consciousness, the level of awareness and sensitivity towards reputation, that I saw there. But I'm sure there are other companies also in India who'll have similar levels of, awareness. But here I could see this, on display. And when we began 2006, when I joined the bank, we were all different, right? So all of us evolved, and your ability to evolve or your ability to make things change is also a lot to do with the leeway and the freedom that you're given. So I'm thankful to my superiors there for letting me drive some of these changes. And when I left the bank, I think it was uh, almost perfect in my assessment. And in fact, I was called to make a presentation to the board. And I'm not sure if I know too many such examples where a communication head is called by the board to make a presentation on the way the brand is managed, right? So that was quite gratifying. Thank you, Abhinav, for your turn. Now it's my turn to be the host, and thank you for those wonderful questions. Now it's my turn to ask you, and that's how we've kept the format of this podcast called Beyond the Brand. Uh, Abhinav's been, for those of you who do not know, he's a renowned headhunter based out of Bombay, works with one of the best known Indian headhunting executive search firms. Expect him to know, since he hires, expect him to know about this reputation, the skill that it entails to succeed in this function, what organizations, brands look for, and what's the level of availability of this skill in the market. So it's my turn, Abhinav. Thank you again. I would just like to understand from you, since you're in the hiring business and you hire, and provide this talent to top brands. What is your sense? Help my viewers understand reputation the way you look at it.
So, we'll take a minute to explain to you the body of work which my firm has done over the years. So, we are 30 years old. Okay. We have done 3,000 plus CXO and leadership roles.
Wow.
And I knew this question was coming to me today. So, went back and saw what kind of roles in the brand slash corporate communication slash reputation space have we done. So, one, it's a marketing function. Okay. Uh, have we done a lot of chief marketing officers? Yes. Have we done lots of chief corporate communication officers? Yes. Have we done some brand heads? Absolutely. Brand reputation, okay, is a super specialized term, okay, which has been around for a while, okay. But do companies come and ask you for somebody who is going to be the custodian of brand? Could be, may not be, okay. So it's a concept which is picking up. But with people like you around, okay, torchbearers of brand reputation, I'm sure we're going to get a couple of large searches from big organizations which would come and ask us to specifically look for brand custodians. But the roadmap is definitely, clear. Brand is a big responsibility for the board. It's an agenda for the board to ensure that the brand of the firm is projected in a particular way. And who takes the ownership? Is it only the CEO, or is it only the branding head, or is it only the marketing head? I don't think so. One, it's a collective responsibility, but there has to be a person, uh, custodian who takes care of end to end brand communication and protection of its values.
Yeah, very well answered. So this is a journey. This is going to be a journey, and I'm happy that I'm taking this journey up, and looking forward to seeing these changes within organizations. A lot of these organizations that I mentioned in the first half of our conversation are ahead of the others. So it's very gratifying to see the changes, taking place, and pace should gather momentum as we go along, and that's my objective. That's the reason I've launched this the firm. How easy or difficult it is to hire? You partly answered this question in your first answer, Abhinav. How difficult or easy it is to hire within this domain?
Look, when you have a position, okay, which does not have a lot of precedence, then you start looking at surrogates. Okay.
Right.
Which would be the other role, okay, which would be closest to what you're expecting this person to do. Okay. You go and speak with people, okay. Now, as I said, this is a super specialized role, Okay. Either somebody would say, hey, I'm extremely passionate about it and I want to take it up. There could be somebody who would say that, look, I would need a more broad based branding role, okay, or a corporate communications role, okay. Am I limiting myself? Okay, could be one pushback, okay. So, whenever we get a mandate from a company, we always look at some must haves and should haves.
Future, in terms of the future, how do you see the future? It's something that I'm deeply interested in. I want this tribe to grow. I want this value of this tribe to grow within organizations. It's come a long way, but I think there's a long way still, ahead of it. How do you see the future of this tribe? Purely from a higher lens.
So, when you speak with professionals, okay, they ask you two, three questions, okay. One is, what is the likely impact, okay, of this person, in the organization? Who does the person report to? Okay. And what will be the next role for this individual? So, impact, okay. Number two would be who the person is reporting to. And number three would be, what could you become, you know, if you were to get a step up? If this position reports to the head of marketing, okay, it will always have a certain kind of impression, okay, in the market. If this role reports to the CEO, okay, it will have another kind of identity. In the world of banking, the chief risk officer has a reporting to the board,
Correct.
right? So, can you have a situation where this person reports to the board and not to the CEO or the head of marketing? That will be a game changer. But will it be accepted by managements is to be seen. Will they give this role so much of importance? You know, to be understood. But if you have to see the larger picture, I would say this is going to be as important as that of a chief risk officer in a bank. I hope I could answer that question.
Yeah, beautifully, beautifully. Do a Google, you will find a few companies globally, having a designated chief reputation officer. I understand this is all encompassing. If you make, there's nothing which is not reputation, right? Technically. So, there's a lot of deeper debate that's required within the organizations, but there is no gainsaying the fact that this function is important. It's come a long way and needs to move in a certain direction, as we articulated just now. So, beautifully answered. Thank you, Abhinav.